clusters are an appointment by the government to support selected strongholds. So we have clusters within food, within life science, within construction, but also within robotics and drones, because it is appointed as a stronghold for Denmark as both the technology, but maybe even more important, the industry. And we as a cluster, we are put in the world to support the ecosystem of the industry to ensure collaboration, so that can create innovation, and maybe even more important, that the innovation goes to market. And we do that by connecting the ecosystem. Companies to companies, companies to academia, companies to end users in many ways. And what you see out here these days, that's one of the examples how we bring the ecosystem together. In this case, not the local ecosystem in Odense or the national ecosystem in Denmark, no, the global drone ecosystem are here in Odense these days, because we are more than 500 participants in the event. They are coming from 40 different countries, so we can definitely call it international. Now, I said we are the national cluster. That means that we are covering the whole of Denmark, and we also have offices in Copenhagen, in Aarhus, in Aalborg, in Sønderborg, to ensure that we are close to all what we in Denmark see as robot and drone activity. And then we are having a global outreach, so we have partnerships both in North America, in Europe and Asia and other places in the world, so we're ensuring that we have global collaboration at a high level. But we are still called Odense Robotics, and that's the city of Odense, and that's because we started to be a local cluster. For more years ago, there was a fast development within robotics. We saw both a close collaboration between the university and the industry, and then that resulted in companies that succeeded quite well. And maybe you're familiar with a company known as Universal Robots, which is today not a drone company, but a robot company that's market leading within what we call collaborative robot. And this movement, you could say, paved the way for other companies and the need of talent, and that created also the need of a cluster like us to ensure that. And then 5 years ago, we became the national cluster. So that was the short introduction. Now it's about the International Drone Show and the focus on that. And when we're talking about being a cluster, that is, we are not the one point of entry, but we are a point of entry into an ecosystem. I just tried to line it out here, that here we have Odense Robotics National Cluster, and that means that we have our members, and in this case more than 350 members, robot, drone and automation companies. And our task is to bring the industry together, but also defense authorities, researchers and test facilities. So we have it here, so we are connecting. It's very important when we're talking about drones. It's also about the framework for drones, and then we are, as an example, in close connection to the authorities. So they have, you could say, the right experience of how the industry sees the possibilities, but also the challenges when we're talking about drones and flying with drones. And then end users, no drone products without an end user. So we are very focused on how are we ensuring that the companies, they also are meeting the need. Both now we are in these years talking about the defense, but also we are seeing drones within agriculture, logistics, maritime, energy, and so on and so forth. And we are also very focused on how do we ensure that we are supporting that adoption, so the technology is going to be taken use in more places. Yeah, so connects innovation, testing and deployment, links Danish capabilities with international partners, and then it's all about collaboration. Collaboration is key. We support it across the drone value chain. If you just take a short highlights of the Danish drone industry, it's experienced strong growth and much activity, despite being a relatively young industry, because it is. That also means that we have many young companies. I will get back to how we support them. We're seeing drones are increasingly being used across both civilian and defense applications. That also means this turn against more, or also defense applications also means a turn in how you apply your technologies in that direction. And defense-related innovation has accelerated significantly in that connection, you could say, in response to the geopolitical situation. We have Danish companies actually collaborating with Ukrainian partners and end users, and we are, you could say, one of the hubs, epicenters for drone innovation and testing and commercialization, because we have the test center here in Odense, but also because we are, you could say, standing upon the shoulders of the robot industry that we have been growing during the years. What we are experiencing now, as I said before, we have 170 exhibitors from 22 different countries, I believe, and more than 1,000, it's 500 participants from 40 countries, including the ones that are exhibitors. And what it is, shortly, it's a platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and business development across the global drone system. Just a few words when I said Brian Odense, and Peter also said in his introduction. That is, in Odense we have a good combination of very important ingredients, you could say, for an ecosystem. There's a close collaboration that enables the rapid testing, adaptation and scaling of new technologies. We also have some different actors that is important. We are here, we are a platform, we are facilitators, so we just, you could say, a part of making things happen. But we have strong knowledge institutions such as the Danish Technological Institute. We have other actors that are organizations working for the supporting of Danish businesses. Then we have the University of Southern Denmark that have been working with robot technology and also drone technology for many years, both in research, innovation, but also education. Also having an education that is focused on drone engineering, so we are also ensuring the pipeline of talent. And then the test center, which Michael will tell us much more about. And recently we also have the Danish Defense has established a defense drone center, which also are placed here, and also this, you could say, good picture of an ecosystem that actually then are extending when there are new focus areas. The industry for us is such a, we could not say it's maybe not a big industry, but it's a growing industry. So every year we are mapping the drone companies rising, and people are, more and more people are coming. This is actually just numbers to say that we are seeing something that is developing. We have members, and we ask them how they see, how do they see challenges and how do they see possibilities, and we can see they're expecting growth in 25 compared to 24 when they are going to know the final numbers. 53 of them developed and launched new solutions last year, so it's also a very innovative industry, you could say. 64% have ambition to grow sales to the public sector, so we also see a shift of also having the public sector as a focus, and then 37 has expanded focus to include new industries the last year. So you could say innovative and also agile industry. And it's not all about defense, it's many domains that we are focused on, as I mentioned, but defense is also part of it, and we can see that this segment is of high focus for the companies as well when we ask them. This is just a number of OEC asking the expected growth in the year we closed, and we can see that there's a high expectation that this industry that is growing. My last focus area would be, I said it in the beginning, we have a quite high amount of young companies in our member base. Actually 25% of them are from 2020 or later. So how will you also actually ensure that we are supporting companies that maybe not have their product on the market yet, but they have a technology that needs to be matured and being ready for the market. We have the Odense Robotics Startup Fund and Incubator in close collaboration with Technological Institute. So that's in downtown Odense, where we have this incubator where we are offering office spaces and access to cutting-edge robotics and drone facilities, because it's where there are experts, and there's also facilities they can develop the technology, and then they have guidance from industry leaders and technical experts. Then they're also getting funder-friendly funding with the with full ownership retained. So that's our model of having different companies. Now took some examples here. It's not only defense, but there's also defense companies and also companies that is focusing on both on robots and drones. And we are doing it again for supporting the young industry, but also in the hope of that we can create the next, or support the creation of the next universal robot, if you could say so.
Thanks for watching Indiavision. Give us a thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. All comments are welcome. Hope to see you soon.